Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So my good bud, Mr. Postile, who's been a regular watcher of my channel for a while now, he also watches my buddies of mine like the Atari Creep and Willie from Arcade USA. And he recently started his own YouTube channel where he's talking about games that he likes and games that he grew up with and some homebrew stuff that he's picked up. So he's got a really good channel going. But he just recently did a video where he was talking about his memory of his first console that he grew up with. And he actually did he showed the console. It was the Atari 2600. And he showed some of the games that meant a lot to him, the stuff. And he kind of went through a little bit of a history of his family and you know, what he did. So anyways, he reached out to myself. He reached out to Willie from Arcade USA. And he reached out to the Atari Creep. And he asked us if we would like to also share our first console memories. And I thought that was a great idea. In fact, Willie already just did his video. I just watched it, about 20 minutes ago. And he talked about his first console being the Fairchild Channel F. And that's the one that I'm not familiar with myself. I never knew anyone that had that. In fact, I didn't know that thing existed until probably a couple of years ago. When I started watching a lot of YouTube channels. But anyways, so if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that I am a big Intellivision person. And that was because I grew up with the Intellivision. Now this was this isn't the one I grew up with. This isn't the same one. I had to re-buy an Intellivision. And I know, I think Willie talked about this too. How, sometimes you lose or you sell off or get rid of some of your old stuff, and my Intellivision, our family Intellivision, I remember I held on to it for as long as I could, but it got to a point where I think it was like starting to fall apart, and I remember my mother saying, you gotta get rid of the old stuff, you're getting into the newer games, I wanted the Nintendo NES, and so yeah, eventually I did sell it, along with my original Commodore 64, and all the games that I had, except for one game. The one game that I kept was Donkey Kong for the Intellivision. But anyways, so I've picked this up probably about 20 years ago. I remember going on a hunt back then, before retro gaming was becoming popular, long before it was popular to be into retro gaming. I was hunting these things down. I was hunting down old Atari stuff, whatever I could find in thrift shops, and I ended up finding this one. But I also found another one in an ad where somebody said they had an Intellivision for sale. It was like $40 with tons of games. It was at their cottage. They just wanted to get rid of it. And I ended up picking up that one, which had a broken controller. So that was why I ended up picking up this one in a thrift shop. I think I got the sticker still on there. You can see there's some stickers for $5. And so what I did was I kind of Frankenstein the two together to make one working Intellivision. This one's not the best body, but I put this one on anyways because, this way I don't worry too much about it getting dinged up or whatever. The other one is in better shape. But anyways, yeah, if you're not familiar with the Intellivision, that's it. This is the I guess you consider it the OG Intellivision, the first Intellivision that came out. This was the same style as the one that I had. You can see on the back there, everything's going to fall out now. You can see on the back there, it's got the channel changers. So you can either put it on channel 3 or channel 4 on your TV. And it's got the infamous paddle discs. Paddle controllers or disc controllers or whatever you want to call it, gamepad. This is what made the Intellivision different than all other systems. And it's really great that people often discuss this, and I either hear stories where people love this thing or people hate this thing. There's people that call it a telephone. They say it's not really user-friendly, it hurts their hand when they hold it, they don't like they can't get used to the disc because it spins around. But if you think about it, and I know for the Intellivision Amico that's coming out, Tommy Tallarico did videos where he talked about the Intellivision controller being the very first controller to be like a gamepad, like the first gamepad, because other systems at the time were more like joysticks. But you got the number pad, you use that in certain games, you get a little overlay that can go in there. and it has different things as to the functions of, while playing the game. But yeah, I actually enjoy this controller. I like it. I got used to it, maybe. Maybe that's why I like it. There is the Intellivision 2, which I do have. It's up there. And it's got thicker controllers, like heavier controllers, bulkier. And I'm not a big fan of those ones. But the only thing about these ones is that they're actually hardwired into the system. So to take this controller out, you have to take the whole system apart and unplug it on the inside. And I think that was one of their biggest mistakes, was making a controller that's hardwired into the system. I kind of get it that they were thinking you're probably going to keep it together anyways and you don't want to lose it. But they didn't think about what happens when these things break. I believe the Sears model, or the Telecade, or whatever it was called, there was another one that came out. It had controllers that you could unplug, but I believe that model came out a little bit later. But anyways, let's get to some of the games that I played. I'm just going to put this over here. Wires everywhere. So let's get to some of the games. So, again, if you watch my channel a lot, you know that Donkey Kong is like my favorite game of all time. Again, this is not the Donkey Kong that I had. My actual cartridge is sitting over there. The one that I actually had when I was a kid is the only thing that I kept. But I ended up getting, another copy of it at some point in time. I don't remember when. But there you go. A lot of people don't really like this game. They don't like they say it's like the worst Donkey Kong ever. Which I don't think is true. There is some pretty horrible computer versions of this game. Yeah, and I mean, it had 2 levels, which upset a lot of people too. I heard stories where people bought this game, got so annoyed and took it back and returned it and got something different. But yeah, Donkey Kong was my first game that I, really, my first arcade experience on the Intellivision. I played the heck out of it, even though it wasn't the greatest. And I knew that at the time. Like, eventually when I got my Commodore 64 and I had Donkey Kong on there and it had all 4 levels, I always wondered why the Intellivision didn't have that. Also, my friend had the ColecoVision, and they had Donkey Kong, which is amazing on that system. But it does have the 3 levels, but it's not perfect. The other game, obviously, that I would have played was Poker and Blackjack, because it came with the system. Now, kind of an odd choice, really, to think about. I wonder what their thought process was back then when they were saying, we need to ship this thing with Poker and Blackjack. I think they were thinking that parents or the adults who were going to buy these things would want more of an adult game, not a kid's game or anything like that. And if you think about, say, the Atari 2600, it came with combat. Problem with that was it was a 2-player only game. This one you could play by yourself, and I did play it. Even though most of the time I didn't know what I was doing, I was just, whatever, drawing cards, trying to beat the little dealer guy at the top there. It was a game that I just kind of threw in because, hey, why not? But the other game that I remember spending lots of time on, it's right here, is Astro Smash. This game is obviously a staple game for the Intellivision. Just get a little bit in there. Because, most people that had an Intellivision probably played this game. It's even being reimagined in the Amico. But I remember spending hours playing this game. When I have a memory of being home sick one day and just sitting there playing Astro Smash all morning. And what I liked about it is, as you played and you progressed, the screen color would change. It would kind of tell you that you're getting somewhere. I don't think I would have played it so much if it always just remained as a black screen, the black space background. So then it would go to blue, and then it would go to like red and purple and green and all the way up, and then eventually you would reset back to the black screen and then go again. But I mean, the stuff would be falling from the sky so fast. That's around the time you start to really lose. But really great game, really keeps you going. I guess it's considered a space game, but I know some people don't think so. Another game that I kind of the same idea was Space Armada. And this was my first experience with Space Invader game. I didn't play Space Invaders in the arcade at the time. I was too young to go to arcades, and I wasn't overly familiar with Space Invaders. But I had Space Armada, so I played this game. And this is pretty much, it's the same idea. It's the aliens coming down from the sky. You gotta shoot them. You get a flying saucer over your head. And I always enjoyed this one. It would get kind of intense, and sometimes I'd only play it for a little bit. Not as much as I played Astro Smash, but I definitely did give this one a go quite a bit. Another game that I played with my friends a lot when they would come over, because it's a two-player game, is boxing. And I love this game. I mean, we played this all the time. We used to even kind of argue over which characters we got to play. It's not like there was anything special, like they were just like different colors, and some of them had different moves. But we always argued over the I think it was the gold one, that the gold guy, there's the picture right there, usually would win. And I don't know if that's true or not. I know, I've looked into it. I know like the blue guy is a little bit the slower one. But anyways, I remember we always like would fight over that, so who got to play what character. But I remember many afternoons where we would be sitting here playing boxing. You know, I don't know what it was about it. I mean, it's the most simplest game. There's your overlay there that has all of the little symbols to tell you which moves. You know, probably at the time, I think we just mashed buttons. I don't think we really looked at that and you know, studied how to actually play the game. I think we just sat there punching until one of us got knocked out. And we always tried to get for the infamous double knockout, which is pretty funny. And then another game that I have a great memory of was Burger Time. Again, these are not my originals. All my originals got sold back in the day, so I had to go and retrace them all. And I think a lot of us old collectors do that. We had this stuff when we were kids, and then we had to rebuy everything. Even some of my Transformers back there, most of those I had to go and rebuy them, because when I was a kid they got lost, they got stolen, they got whatever, I moved. So just lots of stuff happens, and you just lose track of this stuff. But Burger Time, I remember getting so excited about this one. My grandparents actually bought this for us, and I remember they came in, and I was like, you know, so excited, and my brother and I, we just ran in, it's like, Burger Time, and then we went downstairs and we started playing it. And even today, I still love playing this game. And I've heard people agree that this is probably one of the better ports of Burger Time. You know, I've played it on the Atari, I've played it on the ColecoVision, I've played it on, you know, all different systems. Even the Commodore 64 version, which I didn't like very much because it was really slow. At least the one that I had, or my friend had. But yeah, I love this version of Burger Time. And I still play it. I've played it a few times on my channel. Great game. And the last one to talk about, which I also spent many a time playing, was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This is still a favorite today as well. You know, running around in the little dungeon area, going through that map, finding all the different things you gotta find. You gotta find a boat, you gotta find an axe, you gotta find a, what's the other thing? There was a key. You gotta find a key to get through a gate, and then you get to the big cloudy mountain, and then you gotta go through and kill the dragon and get the crown. I mean, that was a different game for me. I mean, most games that I played back then had like one screen, or, you know, like Burger Time had one kind of like layout. It would change a little bit. Donkey Kong had two screens, but this being a full-on game where you go through a map and then you go into these dungeons, and you can increase the difficulty if you want to play on the higher difficulty settings and the lower difficulty settings, depending on how you want to play it. I thought this was amazing during the time. And again, this is another one being reimagined on the Amico, where I believe they're just calling it Cloudy Mountain. Obviously, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is a name that's owned by Wizards of the Coast, which originally was owned by, I think it was TSR. I think they were the original owners of the, TSR Hobbies. They were the original owners of Dungeons and Dragons. And then Wizards of the Coast, the creators of Magic the Gathering, bought out Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, so they own the title. So, and this one, interesting enough, is only called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. But it did get later on, it did kind of get the tag name Cloudy Mountain because they made a bunch of other ones. Treasures of Tarman. I think there was a few I think that they were supposed to come out. But yeah, really great title, really great game. I remember picking this up in an antique shop. The guy sold it to me for $7.50. I think I was buying some other game. I don't remember what it was. And he had it for like $3. And I said, well, why is this one $7 and this one's $3? And his answer was, well, this is Dungeons and Dragons, and that's a big name. And I'm like, okay. But I paid it anyways because I really wanted it. You know, I think I have a few more copies of this as well, just from picking up bulk lots. But anyways, yeah, really cool game. Still a game I love playing today. It'll be interesting to see how this gets ported onto put onto the Amico. We have seen some screenshots of it. So far, we've seen a little bit of gameplay. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about my favorite, or my memories of my first console, the Intellivision. Of course, from there I moved on to the Commodore 64, and then the Nintendo, and then the Sega Genesis, and then the list went on. Thanks again to Poststyle, Mr. Poststyle, for doing this great video. Great idea for a video topic. And any other YouTube creators that watch my channel that are, you know, looking for a good topic, you should try this one. Just dive into your first video console memory. It's funny that the three of us so far have had 3 different systems, so be interesting to see what you grew up with and if it was, you know, different or the same. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Leave some comments down below. I always like to read what you got to say. Check out Mr. Poststyle's video. I'm going to leave a link down below so you can go and see what he had to say for his video. And hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.